what's your name? Willow, we love Willow. Hey,
Gary.
Carrie, we love Carrie. How about over here?
Grim Reaper.
Oh, Grim Reaper, yay, we love you.
Roger.
Roger, that big buddy. How about this? Over here, we got ponies. Who are you?
I'm Ellie Ray.
I love you even more. We love you. Jeff, we love you.
Colby.
Colby, you've got my same jacket.
Feather Data.
Feather Data, we love you. Coming around, coming around, coming around.
What's your name?
Oh, I love you so much. And way at the back, who do we got? Okay, we've got Fabulous, and I wish I could sign, and the only thing I know how to sign is a swear word, and you're going to go stop at Ellie Ray. We love the pony at the back signing. Everybody, we are all so glad you're here at SeaqustriaFest. You, there's no I in team. You are, we are, us, our family, our Sequestria, and we love you all.
Oh no.
What's happening?
These are sponsors. Gloves are on.
Hi, sponsors. Oh, hi, sponsors. We love you too, sponsors. What's your sponsor name?
Snow Day
Snow Day.
and Janice the
I
Light.
saw you before last year, I think. No, they disappeared. Hi, they vanished into the land of the place
Snow
where
Day
the ice
and Janice the Light.
Oh, Janice the Light. That's
Janice the Light, oh my gosh. Janice the Light, we love you. Thank you for sponsoring everything so fabulous and helping us make this happen. You're wonderful. Yay,
good.
Connie.
It's good.
Can I just hold your hand for just a second? Give me a
All
second.
right.
Yes, we'll actually talk about it.
Emotional support.
This is emotional support
And energy.
and energy.
We're holding hands.
We're being super gay.
All right.
That was the community we're talking about.
And that's the bell. Oh, we have one more. Get the mic, get the mic.
Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Frenchie.
Yay.
Wait, hit the mic.
I love that.
Frenchie, let me get a
Hi, I'm Frenchie.
So I guess we should talk some diversity.
Alright, cool. So, I wanted to host this panel. I'm horrible at talking and moderating things to a degree. I can moderate Discord servers, no problem. Panel, on the other hand, not so much. So I got Jenny to help. She's also got some experience. I'm sorry, Rarity.
No, I'm a public speaker for a living and a psychologist, so I gotcha.
That's fantastic.
So what I wanted to do. So what I wanted to do is have a panel to represent as much of the diversity that we have in the community as we do. Whether that be different LGBT or different race or different backgrounds, different things that you've gone through in life. And what we're going to do is we are going to go around and talk about some of the most significant things that have happened with us in the community that's made us feel more a part of this community than perhaps maybe even the community, the world community, so to speak. Because I think that's something that really the Brony community exemplifies, that factor of unity. So yeah.
Yes, yes.
Well said.
That was pretty good, moderator.
I'm not a moderator.
Awesome, I'm a moderator. So, I'm gonna hand this over to my friend Drummer Shy, and he can just kind of set it in his lap because it's facing everybody now, so you can just, you know, then I don't have to do 300 things. I wasn't born an octopus, I was born to talk and moderate, I guess. All right, so I think that we have already introduced ourselves in terms of name. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
And I think we're all here because we offer something unique to the fandom or to the world. So maybe we should include that description as another round of intros.
Yeah.
And then we can take some specific questions so we address the things that people need to know. And then we can share more of our stories for inspiration.
Heck yeah.
Let's let the professional guy start.
Professional All right, if people want to know the professional gay story, I'll tell it at the panel later today. It is a story, and somehow I got a rainbow sticker on my shoe, which is the most diversity thing I could have thought of for this morning. Get on, I'm sorry, I was on Ellie's thing, y'all. It's too early for the 18+ jokes. Anyway, so for those unfamiliar with me, I run a project called Keeping Friendship Magic. I started the, thank you. Sorry, I'm gonna be a little emotional today. Like I said, I had a family emergency yesterday, so I'm still reeling from a few things, and we're gonna talk about that more later today, but I don't want to break from this panel. As far as identity markers for me, my pronouns are he, him. I am gay, polyamorous, a brownie, HIV positive. What other things can I label myself as?
Professional gay.
Professional gay, apparently. I'm also a very unique individual too, with a lot of different things, and I'll tell you just real quick, because I don't want to eat up everyone else's time, but one of my first early introductions to this fandom was going to my very first convention back in 2014. It was BronyCon 2014. I knew nobody in the community. I knew nothing other than what I had seen in a couple of documentaries and, yada yada. But at that point, I'd started watching this little show called Friendship is Magic. Y'all might have heard of it. And I just loved it. And I thought there were so many great messages. And one of the best things that happened to me at that con was I decided to be a gopher. If you're not familiar with the term, a gopher is essentially somebody who does extra help with convention staff. Zen. Hi Zen, we love you. Poor Zen has gotten co-opted at the last 2 cons that I've been at to come help us, but he's the most amazing. Can we give a round of applause for Zen? But I walked into that room knowing nobody, and they didn't know who I was, and the first thing they said is, come in here and hang out, we're gonna play games until we're called to need to do something. And I was amazed that, I grew up at a time where, granted, there's still a lot of challenges we face, but, I grew up in the 80s and the 90s in a small town in rural Pennsylvania, and it was very hard to come out and to accept who I was, and to have a space where I could walk in and have everybody go, we don't care about that stuff, we love you, come in and hang with us, was literally one of the most life-changing experiences ever. There was somebody at that convention who was with some kind of UK television station, I want to say, that was actually interviewing people. And there was an interesting experience where when she was interviewing me, apparently she told me that I was the first gay individual she had talked to that whole weekend. And she thought that was interesting, and I was like, you know what is interesting to me is that I feel like in this space, the label of gay, straight, whatever, doesn't matter. And it was like, and I truly felt that. And it was the most empowering experience ever. And with that combined with a few other things, led me to create this weird little project about let's bring social science and the magic of this fandom together to hopefully make the world a better place. So, yay!
Yay!
It is.
If you're taking your mask in,
the mask is.
it's hard to project.
You're 6 feet. You're good.
I grew up in the, I'm older than I look, and that's partly because of my disability. I have something called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome that causes a lot of, basically I was born with it, but it wasn't regularly diagnosed until I got older, much, much older. And that's why I tend to have what looks like reverse aging syndrome. My skin doesn't age, but my body feels like it's 80. I was born also in a small town only in Maryland. And I was raised as an evangelical, and I didn't even know why I was different, because there weren't words for that where I was. You were just, you were were expected to stay in the church, grow up, get married, I didn't realize there were words for the fact that I wasn't a straight person, or even what it was to not be straight, until I went to college. And I took a class about power and prejudice. They brought in a whole bunch of different speakers, one of which was from a church in the DC, the Metropolitan Community Church, which caters to the LGBTQ community. And I started to realize that the fact that I liked women wasn't a mistake. And as I got older, I started to realize that my experience wasn't like other people born in a body like this one. So now I'm able to say that I am transmasc, non-binary, polyamorous, pansexual, mostly, but I mostly lean towards women, which ironically makes me more straight than anything else. And the first time I ever felt, and among other things, I have a heritage that some people may consider to be not, people with my heritage were persecuted throughout the centuries, basically. And I didn't learn that until I was older too. So I've always been into My Little Pony even before there was even such a thing as a fandom. I got my first My Little Pony was Blossom in 1984. And I remember when I was 6 going to the toy store, opening that up and getting to like brush its hair, and just thought that was the coolest thing, and collected a whole bunch of them over the years. And it wasn't until it was actually 2021 after the pandemic, when a mutual friend of Forward and Nova's got us all together for a movie, and I realized that it was okay to be loud, it was okay to laugh loud, it was okay to be myself, and I didn't have to be in the box everybody said I was supposed to be in. And through that meeting of bronies, I am here, and I have found the most happiness I've ever had in my life. And yeah. Sorry, I was early. I haven't had coffee.
I needed to like give you some kind of positive.
It's all positive though, because I learned that I don't have to be what everyone said I had to be. I can be who I am. I can be in my 40s and cosplaying Nightmare Moon, and nobody cares.
Hell yeah!
So, I guess just starting off with labels, I'm transgender, she, her pronouns. This fandom has done more for me than I could have ever thought that a show for little girls would do for anyone, but I think we can all relate. My first Brody convention was in 2015, and I actually connected with this one over here greatly from it, because we were only like acquaintances, but one thing I always thought was really funny was we had a friend who, at that point I was identified as straight, hetero, things that you tell yourself. And our one friend was like,
I know the story you're telling.
yep, where they thought that me and Forward were together, and we thought it was the funniest thing, because I considered myself straight hetero, and 2 years later we ended up getting together, and then I came out as transgender, and boy, has that been a journey. I've been getting into a little sadder stuff. Like, I remember I was walking with said mutual friend, and somebody drove by in their car and just yelled "freak out" to me, and I was just like, cool. And it's especially scary right now because, like, there's straight up states that I can't go in now. Like, America's kind of become a scary place for us.
Parts of it, yeah.
Well, parts of it, yeah. Like, thankfully, Maryland has been kind, and so is Pennsylvania. But it's been a journey. I'm also post-op, a little TMI, but that is a journey that you're told, like, because you're supposed to like look at like 16-page document when you're about to go get the surgery, being like, make sure you want to do this because this is all the risks, it's all the stuff that can happen, and you look at it and you're just like, I am game, like I need this, and then it happens, and you're like, when things go wrong that are in that booklet, it is like you realize you never truly absorbed what those words were saying, and it has been a multi-year journey. I'm now what, 4 years in? 3 years in?
It'll be 3 in July.
And I've already had to do another surgery, which at that point all of like the nerves reconnected, and it was far more painful. Because I remember my first thought for the first surgery, you're like, you know, like, oh, this wasn't that bad pain-wise. Like, I was told this was supposed to be super painful. Then that second surgery, oh boy, I was screaming. Because it's like two weeks where you have to be close to the hospital, and yeah, it's a weird experience. Frenchie here, thankfully, was here for some of it, and then Forward got the brunt. Because you, like, especially like you're on pain meds, you're in so much pain, and you just start lashing out at everything and everyone, and it's a hard time. But I'm still happy I did it, but it's one of those things where be sure you have, like, if you're thinking about doing that kind of thing, make sure you have a really good support unit. Thankfully, I've had Frenchie, and I've had Forward, and I've had other friends and family to help me throughout it, but I can't imagine like a bunch of people in my position, they don't have that, and they also are thinking about doing the surgery, and I'm like, make sure you have that, otherwise it's going to be hell.
Thank you so much for sharing that. We love you and support you.
Love you,
Thank
Rose.
Yay!
All right, so let's see, gender fluid, pansexual, poly. I live in Georgia. I grew up with Southern Baptists and was adopted. Kind of, sort of, weird story. But custody was eventually given to my grandmother. Everybody loves furry grandma.
Yeah. Grandma's the best, y'all.
I mean, she's 77 and is a furry.
Yes!
She was raised Catholic, and eventually found the Baha'i faith and fell in love with it because it taught exactly what the ponies teach, which is unity.
Imagine that.
Right? So growing up, it was very interesting and different. I unfortunately had the displeasure of going to a straight camp. I've been disowned by relatives. I was 17, got kicked out. Did not talk to those relatives for 11 years, and then 2020 happened, and I was like, let me check on them. Oh, they're wondering how I'm doing. I guess I'll reach out. And it's been mostly positive now. They've kind of understand a little bit. Oh, pronouns, by the way, are he, they, she. So I've been, let's see, I've been into ponies for a good little bit, mostly because of an ex-girlfriend. I'm gonna say something very controversial. She really liked 3.5. Like a lot.
I was just gonna say, is that
but she was like really big into it, and I was like, you know, I grew up hanging out with all my boy cousins that were my age. Didn't really understand the appeal of the girly, you know, more feminine things in life. And the last thing that she ever gave me was a McDonald's Fluttershy. And she was like, I think you're gonna be like her. I don't know anything about her, but, and I know you hate the color yellow, and I know you hate the color pink, but I think y'all are gonna be alike. Boy, was she right. So I you know, I hadn't seen the commercials. The commercials weren't out. The show wasn't even out. And then I saw a commercial, and I was like, you know what? We're not together anymore, but let me just take a look. And down the rabbit hole I went on that journey. I've been a brony since quite literally the beginning. Been some places that I'm not anymore, as far as certain community aspects. First convention I ever worked at all was DerbyCon South. DerbyCon South, that was in Louisiana. I was part of their PR team. I went around the Atlanta conventions promoting DerbyCon South and Sweet Beignet. So I've been through a lot, various forms of abuse, whether it be due to my sexuality or my gender or relatives just being mean. It's a morning panel. I can't cuss this early. Right. The modern.
The curses are still in bed.
But through all of that, and even with the ties from like exes and everything in the fandom, I still keep coming back. And it's like, I started this convention, not gonna lie, 2018, BronyCon, got the announcement, and I was super Fluttershy, like did not talk to anybody, very much a wallflower, nothing, like didn't interact with anybody. And the announcement happened, and I was in the front row because I was a sponsor, and I sat there and cried for 10 minutes or so. Like everybody was out of that room. And it just kind of clicked in me. I was like, wait a minute. If I'm feeling like this, imagine how everybody else is feeling. I've been through a lot in my life. I've handled a lot. I can deal with it. But I don't know how everybody else was dealing with it. And that's, for lack of better wording, my twilighting. So I got up as a person who never gave strangers hugs or didn't even want to, like, even growing up as a kid, giving people hugs was not a thing that I did. So getting up, walking up to random strangers that I don't even know and being like, hey, do you need a hug? Do you need a hug? Do you need a hug? Just consoling as many people as I could. Then somebody put in the BronyCon forum we want to start a convention. And I was like, okay, I mean, I guess I can help. I'll do what I can. And then a staff Discord server was made. And then the first little, okay, who's gonna be here and who's not gonna be here? And then it just flourished into this. I kind of took the lead on everything and approached some people, and I was like, hey, you wanna be this? Hey, you wanna be this? I need help. I want this to be the best that it can be. I don't want to be BronyCon size. I don't want to take the place of BronyCon. Nobody can replace BronyCon. And that's never been my goal. My goal has been to have a safe space for people like me with different forms of anxiety, or people like many people on this panel that can't really be comfortable in a 10,000 crowd.
Can we give a big round of applause for Kajinka for bringing us all together? Thank you for overcoming and for bringing us here today, Kajinka.
Of course. Where do I begin? Yeah, it's a lot. I call it my tragic backstory, the lore, but my pronouns are they, them.
How about, instead of telling us the tragedy, tell us who you are today and how...
Yeah, it's part of that.
Okay. I'm just going to try to help
Yeah,
you.
I'm trying to speed up a little bit.
Moderator, helper.
Grew up a little bit far from Detroit, and yeah, we don't have stuff in Detroit. I know that for a fact. I grew up in a very abusive household. I always loved doing art since I was a kid, and essentially it was school I would get nowhere with it. I should go find a real job, and was just constantly put down. I was constantly in the closet. Luckily I went to a very friendly LGBTQ high school where I was able to find my identity, able to help others, led diversity training, introduced people who have never seen anyone outside their skin color, outside their gender, outside their religion or anything, in introducing them to diversity and to the wonderful communities that we have. And I had to do all this while being in the closet. Unfortunately, I was found out and was constantly ridiculed for it, and that sucked. Throughout this time, I was in the pony community, I was in elementary school when the show dropped. I got a bookmark from my library that had the hub and all the grass fields. You remember that? And I was like, huh, it's gonna replace Discovery Kids. I'm like, oh, I can't watch Magic School Bus in the morning anymore. And so I remember my biological mom and whoever, they were fighting, and I just remember going upstairs crying, and woke up to when the show premiered, and I've been attached ever since. There's been ups and downs. I was able to escape the abusive households I was in. Unfortunately, I am also a CSA survivor, and I was groomed by a member of this fandom, and similar to like why do we keep coming back? This is very recent for me, past like 5 years, and wondered, should I be in this community anymore? I don't know. There's just so much going on. I started developing more medical issues. I have fibromyalgia, conversion disorder. I have PTSD from all stuff, anxiety, depression, you name it. I'm actually also developing more issues, so that's fine. I got more debuffs. But
That just means you have an epic character sheet. That's what
man,
that means.
that's so epic. And I remember I was with the person who abused me, and I was homeless. When I escaped, I didn't have anywhere to go. And I was disabled, and I'm like, I can't work, I'm homeless, what the heck? And my brain was like, hey, let's apply for the art team for BronyCon. I was couch surfing, and they're like, hey, you should apply, because it was like 2 security members, and they were like, you should apply your art. And I'm like, I'm not gonna make it. And I was homeless in a hotel room, bathroom, now doing an interview for BronyCon, pacing around, and being like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? That probably shouldn't have been my priority, but after breaking in, I never thought that would change my life forever. Without all of you, like without the supporters, I wouldn't be here right now. My merch in that booth over there, I don't really take profit. I don't use that money personally. I use it to put it back into making more merch for the community and travel. And it's so amazing how since BronyCon 2019, which that's the year I was able to do art and stuff, that would change my life forever. And now I never thought I'd be a guest anywhere. I never thought I'd get all these amazing opportunities to draw for so many amazing people, draw for so many amazing conventions. And staffing a convention, it changed my life completely. And I'm at Forward, I'm at FOF, and they reignited my passion for the community and wanting to do more as a disability activist and being a transgender activist in the community. To keep pushing for more new things, push new and more upcoming creators into these spaces so we can all have fun and we can all share and showcase everybody's talent. But yeah, positive stuff. Yay!
Wait, they have mics up here.
I'm sorry. I just want to share.
You
want to share?
You know you're at a PonyCon when? So, push the button.
I'm gender fluid and pansexual. My pronouns are she, they, he. I grew up in Germany in the deepest woods of the Bavarian forest, which is a very Catholic area. I also have ADHD, which led to many problems, especially early on in elementary school. The first 2 years, I had a teacher who was not accepting of that at all, because I always looked distracted. I always looked out of the window, and the conclusion that the teacher made at the time was basically that I'm just here to distract other pupils from their success, and that I don't belong here. I should go to. They just didn't want me there. They just saw me as an obstacle in their way. Little did they know, I pushed through, and I was actually offered to skip a year after second grade because my grades were that good. And I was rid of that teacher at that time, and I got like a super nice one for third and fourth year who is a friend all the way until today. Funny story behind that teacher of the first 2 years, they actually became a grandmother a few years later, and their grandkid have ADHD as well, so they have to deal with that now and learn. I hope they learn and get better.
Wait, can I piggyback something for you?
Unmute.
There was a comedian who did this joke, but I honestly, I've taken this joke into like an everyday life thing.
It doesn't make sense to hate anybody, because you know what? Whoever you hate will end up in your family.
Yeah,
So learn to love everybody, because you have to deal with it anyway. So, amen to that.
Amen to that.
Yeah, there's a little more. Going on to 5th grade and onwards, all the problems weren't really stopping, as I was still kind of an outsider throughout all these years and had to deal with lots of bullying. Stuff got hidden and destroyed, and in the end I oftentimes got the blame for it, even with teachers and all that stuff, but I pushed through. I found some friends, but in the end, from every person I knew, from where around I lived, where I went to school, I didn't really feel like I was really part of something. And in 2018, I met a really nice person who was my partner for a while, and they really helped me discover that I'm pansexual and gender fluid with their way they were to me and how open they were, and I'm forever thankful for them. But they also moved on, we lost contact and all that, and with that, 2017 was when I joined the fandom, and I was like, yes, I wanna meet those people. I wanna see how this is. I'm really curious. So I went to my first meetup in 2017, where they watched the MLP movie, and I also went to my first convention in 2018, GalaCon in Germany.
Yay!
At those two events, and as well as the last BronyCon, which I also went to, I didn't really know anyone. I just roamed around, went to panels, went to the guest of honor because I was really excited about that back then. It wasn't really until COVID, and I don't want to say that COVID is a good thing, but I think the fandom took that bad situation in the best way they could have done with, like, you saw Ponyfest, you saw all the other conventions going online, and that's where I really started finding the people that I have to thank for me being here today, because I think the most important point in time is TruckCon 2021, the online one. Not TruckCon 2020, I'm sorry, the online one, and the second one, where I basically...
The one we're still in closing ceremonies for.
Yeah, we're still in closing ceremonies for
ceremonies. We're still in it.
Still in it.
They had 12 voice actors as guests for that convention. And I basically bought autographs for all those voice actors, so I was in the Zoom call where they had those autograph sessions all weekend. And I befriended a lot of the staff of TruckCon, including this beautiful person here who I can call my partner today. And from there on, it really took off. I finally found spaces where I could really be myself and didn't have the feeling I would have to mask or anything like that. And I'm so incredibly thankful for every one of you and everyone in this fandom. The support,
Welcome
the
to
friends
your family.
The friends I could meet, would have never imagined that. So thank all of you.
Thank you.
Your turn.
It's my turn. Wow. Hi, I'm Brink. I already introduced myself. My pronouns are they, them. I am non-binary, agender, because gender is a social construct and I don't subscribe. That's what I got for my gender.
You're good.
Thank you.
You are valid.
Yes.
Thank you. I am also a lesbian. I am polyamorous. Both of my partners are trans. And yeah, I would not have discovered that without the Brony fandom. I've been in this fandom since 2015. I think. I don't know. Time isn't real. I know I am fandom.
No, I'm fandom.
Oh.
Edible.
I've been in this fandom since MLP MSP1. That was my very first PonyCon. I didn't know who anybody was. I, in fact, remember going up to AC Race Fest and Saber Spark because my then boyfriend and my friend were like very into them, and I remember going up to them and being like, "Hi, I don't know who you are, but my friends are really excited to see you." Little did I know in 2019 they would be like part of my engagement story, so you know, that's pretty cool. But yeah, I discovered myself through this fandom. I don't have like a super cool, like, yeah, this is how I discovered my gender identity or whatever through the fandom. But I can say that this fandom has been closer than family for me. I tend to bounce off of fandoms very quickly, because as I'm learning at 32 years old, I'm very neurodivergent, and I don't stick with anything ever.
What about Warriors?
Okay, Warriors is the only fandom that I have stuck with, but nobody else cares about Warrior Cats except for me. Okay. I take it back, people care about Warrior Cats.
Stickers for my family. Do you not recall the custom stickers we ordered?
I do recall this, yes. Okay, I take it back. People like Warrior Cats. You can talk to me in my vendor booth. I will talk to you about Warrior Cats.
You have set yourself up for the day now. I want you to know that.
Great. Excellent. But I tend to bounce off of fandoms very quickly. But the Brony community is one that I keep coming back to. My big Brony story, the one that's like near and dear to my heart, in 2021, gosh, it was last year, after TruckCon, all of my vendor stuff got stolen. Everything. My laptop was stolen, my cutting machine for making stickers was stolen, everything was gone. And I was devastated. I remember messaging my friend Thoth, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna be able to vend anymore. And I was 6 years in at this point. I'm like, yeah, I've been vending for 6 years, this is awesome. Like, I don't know, I can be a staff artist or like do things now. And I remember being so devastated and being like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And Thoth messages me and is like, well, if you put up like a GoFundMe or something, like let us know, like we'll be there for you. And I'm like, okay. So I put like a little tweet out, like nothing big. I'm like, hey, guess who just had all their vendor stuff stolen? And I think it was Baja was the first person to reply and be like, hey, where can I donate? And I'm like, here you go, here's my Ko-fi, I guess, if like anyone wants to do anything. Within 6 hours, I had my insurance deductible met. Like, I remember I was crying the morning, like sobbing, going into work, and within 6 hours I had all of my stuff replaced. Like I had all the money for it, I had everything back within a week. It was wild. And I have never had that in a community. So if we're talking about why we keep coming back to the community, that's why.
Woo! All right, I'm not going to tell you any like real stories. I'm just going to tell you the things I can speak to, so when we get to questions, you know some of my experiential background and why I'm sitting up here on a panel about how, as individuals, we impact the world. How does that sound? Okay.
That sounds great.
Because my list is a little long. Okay. So first of all, I'm a psychologist. I have my PhD. Started out in pediatrics. I was a diagnostician, so people that have a diagnosis of autism or anything else within the mental health spectrum of disabilities, I'm the first line of communication with parents and their children and explaining what that is and what we can do to make their lives better. So I can speak to that from a professional standpoint. I am also a mother, and I can speak to parenting and the perspective of having children in the fandom. So believe it or not, I'm the team lead, but some of those other beautiful adult women you see in my team, those are my daughters. So, little bit of an age reveal there. Another age reveal is I don't subscribe to categories. I don't subscribe to defining sexuality or gender or anything like that, because I was in the first line of defense for the LGBTQ plus community. For instance, this is gonna age me, do not Google when this happened. I was part of the group that got the very first Pride Fest for the city of Milwaukee at our big festival space. We were part of the group that were accused of bringing AIDS into the community because that was a gay disease. We were thrown at eggs at our faces and had to break through lines of protesters to have the first gay pride parade in our city, have the first Pride Festival. So we come from an old school generation where we fought to be equal, not to separate ourselves differently by more labels. Okay, so that's a unique perspective on that part of the community. I also, you may not know this, but you'll see my car parked outside with a disability sticker on it in the handicap spot. You'll never know it by seeing me run around like a crazy fool. I can't even go into my myriad of personal health conditions, but I'll just tell you, it qualifies me for a disability sticker out there. Another fun fact, I'm a pastor. Yep, my church is the Evangelical Christian Church of Wisconsin. I've married over 1,400 people. And you can be a good Christian.
Yes.
So anybody out there that feels segregated for that, you don't have to. All right. Other thing is with psychology too. I fell in love with children's programming because I consulted Dr. John Westerhoff. People don't know who that is. He's one of the developers of Sesame Street. Yep. when I told you about my background in psychology, it's a little bit bigger than you may know. And I have coworkers from around the globe, and lots of publications on child development, and I love the psychology behind children's programming like MLP, and some of the other things. I'm also big in the bigger anime community, cosplay and whatnot, and try to make a difference with inclusion in the cosplay space as well. I think that summarizes. Oh, also, I work with United Way. I've had more community hours with the United Way than I've been in the state of Wisconsin, and they had a banquet, and I did show up because I had another volunteer event. Fun fact.
That's devotion.
Yeah. And I work with inmates at the House of Correction, because I also, with my PhD in psychology, I also have a doctorate in theology, and I'm able to break barriers with people from different religious backgrounds in the institutional systems and use that as a catalyst to help them grow and thrive and feel like they can leave that restrictive environment and become productive and have purpose and grow. So I do work as a volunteer with inmates as well. So I have lots of things I can talk about, not just ponies, and I think that's part of the reason I'm sitting here today. If you have something that you have a problem with, I'm all ears. Love you guys.
We love you.
Is this still? Oh, this is way better. This is great. Just want to take a moment to honor and celebrate everyone in this room. You know, listening to all these stories is really beautiful. I'd love to hear from all of you, to be completely honest with you. And really quickly, you know, I don't want to get too much into my story, but I'm an actor who happens to be a number of different ethnicities. And that's had its own challenges, right, throughout the industry and throughout my professional career. But you know, if anyone wants to ask me questions about that, I can speak to that. But I would love to hear from all of you as well, in addition. So I'm going to move it along to Ellie for that reason.
I agree. Hi, ba-doo. I don't believe in labels either. We are love. That's our label. I mean, we can, and love is magic.
Bing bong.
Wow, it took you a minute. I am all things, you are all things, we are all things. There is no I in team, as I said before. We are love. That is our label. Be careful in a world that wants to label you, because it creates a distinction, good or bad, in all ways. And I've had many labels thrown at me, and none of them are what I am and what we are. I believe that all of us, and this fandom is a perfect example of it, and Sequestria, here we sit together. We are love, we are friendship, we are one, and we are magic.
We are light bringers too.
Light bringers.
Positivity.
I said magic and nobody responded.
Yeah.
Bing bong.
Oh, there you go. You know, for those that have had to fight to be recognized, with your movements towards the self, we've all gone through a journey. We continue to go through a journey, and I believe that this fandom will allow for each and every pony to discover exactly who they are. And I believe personally that it is love, and that's where we begin.
Yay for love.
You know, has anybody else ever had the challenge that I've had, where you try to explain to somebody who's either not in the fandom or has never been to a convention, describing Ellie to them?
Yes. It is a challenge.
It is a challenge that I love so much, because I've said, she defies labels and she's who I want to be when I grow up.
Okay,
You can't explain it, and it's the best place to be.
I can explain
Exactly where you want
it.
to
I
be.
can explain it. Last night, I was taking a bath, okay, and I got the room was fancier, was a big bathtub in the middle of the room. And I got in my bath, and I was feeling all great and happy from the day, right? And all of a sudden, some pieces of glitter floated up from out of nowhere. See, and glitter.
You will find that for weeks to come.
Yeah, and
you will
unknown
find glitter in your
parts.
underpants.
So Ellie Way is the sequins and glitter in my bathtub.
She's always with you.
I was involved in a really bad, reasonably bad car accident in February, which resulted in the loss of one of my most favorite vehicles I've ever had. And when, I don't know if it's on. Is it on? I don't know. I can talk loud. When I was finally cleaning out my car for the last time, and my concussion that I got from that made it really hard, I was getting into the back seat and glitter. And I just started crying because I had so many fun memories with you in that Jeep.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
All right.
All right, so as we heard everybody's story, what I want you to remember from their stories is they overcame things that made them who they are today. And they're still overcoming. I'm still overcoming. You're still overcoming. You're overcoming things. We all are struggling with something, and we all have struggled, and we're going to continue to struggle, because guess what? That's what being human is.
Yeah.
Right?
You're ponies!
Well, yeah, okay. That's what being human is. Being ponies means you have a unique worldview on being human, which gives us an advantage over the rest of humankind, right? Because we understand that power of friendship, of coming together in spaces like this where we can feel safe and we can talk and we can share. The most great thing about this fandom is the positivity. So let's talk positively. Let's ask questions. How can we help you make this panel a positive experience? What questions do you have? You can target specific people. You can share something uplifting. Why don't you raise your hand and let's take a few questions, and you can direct it at anybody in the panel. We're not going to go through and make everybody answer. If you don't direct it at a person, I'll just pick a person. Chances are I'm going to pick Ellie because she's going to give the most positive answer. Yeah. All right, you got a question?
Actually, I wanted to touch on here. You can hold this. I just actually wanted to touch on Samu's comment. Hearing your story was just, you know, I had ADHD as well. I was bullied in middle school and high school, and hearing your story really got me thinking about you. I was threatened with a knife in middle school because, you know, somebody was bullying me. I told somebody, you know, as everybody can learn in this room, you know, if you see something, say something. And I said something, and somebody found out from word of mouth, and I was threatened with a knife. Luckily, police were called, and it was like it was like when I was beginning to get myself into the fandom, like around 2011, and you know, and you touched on a very good point. You know, somebody with ADHD as well, and having, you know, I'm still having, you know, a little tiny bit of issues today. You know, dealing with that, you know, with my girlfriend and all that. But hearing your story just really connected, and I'm just glad that, as all of us mentioned, we're in a community. We're in a community of love and acceptance. So I really appreciate you telling that story. So.
Raise your hand if you want me to come with the mic to you. Anybody else have anything they want to ask? Oh, it's up to you. Your hands look like, you know, giving out here. All right, any other questions? If not, I can just come up with questions to invent that. Okay, all right, no other questions?
Don't be shy. There you go.
All right, so just to keep the ADHD theme going, because, all right, right back at you. Okay, so yes, I have ADHD. I was never diagnosed with it, but I've known I've had it for absolutely forever, because of just, I mean, I'm literally doing this right now, and not even thinking about it, I'm just doing it. But I've been in this fandom since 2011. I still have the badge from my first con, which was Brony Fanfare in Austin, Texas. It wasn't a Brony con, but it was my Brony con. That con was everything to me. I met so many nice people. I met my first girlfriend there. I met amazing people. I even met Do the Daring Do before they even had the hat.
Wow.
And,
Wait, there was a before?
and it was an absolute time. But as the time went on for the fandom, I grew further and further away from it. I still love the show, but the fandom itself, I grew far away from it because I wasn't part of the scene anymore. I had a Tumblr, if everybody remembers those days back then, and that time was really good. But when that fell apart, that it just really went radio silent for me. It wasn't until after COVID, where it was 2021 and HarmonyCon was just happening, and the decision I made the decision in my head. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to this panel. I'm gonna go to this con. And if I do not enjoy it, if I just have a bad time, or if nothing happens, I'm out of the fandom. I just made myself an ultimatum like that. And to say that I'm here, so you could probably know what happened to that. I met so many great people. I met Thoth, I met Britt, I met Ford, I met you, and I think you know where that story went. And I met so many people, and I never thought ever in my life I would ever be a part of something like this, and just also be loved by so many people in this fandom. Because if people really don't know too much, I'm not gonna ramble too much about it, but I had a lot of abuse, like a lot of it, for about 15 years straight, and to the point where like I still have a hard time thinking people like me or just kind of give me any self-motivation. But every time I step out of Texas, or just out of my house or anything, and see all of you and this show and everything, that confidence goes right back up to 100. And you guys give me the power to keep on going every day, and I love you all for that. I really do.
That's awesome. Anybody else have any questions or comments in the audience right now? All right, we got one in the back.
So yeah, I'm an introvert. I don't like expressing myself too much, but ever since, I remember back in I believe it was like 2012, that's been me and my sister and my brother. We'd sit down in front of the TV and watch shows, and watching My Little Pony. I remember those days back before COVID, and it was just so much nicer. And it's so nice having so much support in this group. And like even on Facebook, I see on the posts all these, not to shame anybody, but some not the best plushes, but it's great to see that they help them out, saying, oh yeah, you could do this next time, you can do that, help them out. And yeah, it's honestly got me through some pretty hard times, but yep, keep on trucking.
Awesome. So this panel is called Helping the Greater World, right? We got a question over here? All right, after this I have a really fun idea. Okay, here we go.
Yeah. So.
Sorry, let's let them speak.
Yeah. So for me, my disability is I can't read very well. I couldn't read when I think all the way up to I was 14 until I went to High Academy, where I could actually read just 4-letter words. Sometimes I could read some longer words and that. And also, anytime I ever went to a new place or a school, I always be like, anytime at lunchtime, I will hunt for any place that have no person around. And anytime any friends I ever got, they came to me first, and I just stuck with them until only at school. Because time when, I think I was literally, when I became a teenager, we got Facebook and all this stuff. Can't do that. I can't speak to any of my friends in any Facebook or anything like that. You know, and anytime. Also, I'm so like a person who somewhat the introvert, like I like to be alone and stuff. But if someone be like, hey, you wanna hang out? I'd be like, okay. I would just go with the flow in any way possible.
You're awesome!
Okay, as I was saying, this is a panel that is like being individuals and how we're gonna help the world, right? Okay, so you've all heard what we overcame. We've heard some stories from the audience. How about we create a group list? And I'll just go around and you can just raise your hand. You can say like one word or 2 words or a short little sentence about what are some of the things within this community, because we talked about that we can apply to our daily lives to make the world a better place. How does that sound? And we can do like short little bursts, and we can go around, and we can have like this feel-good collection.
I have a great idea too.
Yeah.
And it's on the piggybacking on the piggyback.
Yeah.
On the back of that, when I'm coaching, I do this exercise where we all think of the greatest moment of our life. When you were at the best moment, you might have won money, you might have won an award for something, you might have gotten married, you might have done something that was like the best experience of your life. Okay. And just come up with words to describe how you felt. And if somebody could write these words down, like ecstatic and like dancing and
so we're going to do both. We're going to take 2 lists. One are feel-good words, and one will be an action or something or a thing you learned from the fandom really quick. Like for instance, like I said, I don't do labels, right? Because that's my generation of people. But I honor other people's pronouns and honor other people's identities. And that's something our fandom does really, really well. And that's something that we can take as a community of ponies out into the general public and be examples for, right? Because this is a really great community for that. So my example is honor people's identities, okay? Honor people's identities. Let's do some quick bursts.
Open-mindedness, not judging a book by its cover, like how you can only see 10% of an iceberg visually. You don't know what's going to be the 90% below.
Awesome. Understanding. Just being there and listening.
Be kind and do better.
Mentor younger people.
Like, be patient with people. They might not be able to express themselves in the correct way right away. Give them time to really get to be themselves and then express themselves.
I think friendship. I think this fandom's really good at friendship.
Great.
I'm just gonna say, remember to breathe.
Yeah, breathe.
Remember to breathe.
Breathing is good.
Air is good.
Air, breathe.
Love one another. Love one another. It's the greatest lesson of all.
Yep.
It starts with yourself. Love yourself so you can love one another.
Yep. Okay. Now, raise your hand if you're some of these things. I don't want to put you on your spot, but I'll go around real quick. Okay, go.
I always enjoy this. It's what I'm enjoying right now.
Music.
Music and the fandom.
Raise your hand if you got an ad on it. Let's come around. Here we go.
Offering hugs.
Offering hugs. Awesome. Okay, here we go.
Never be afraid to just express yourself and be yourself.
Yes, be yourself. Woo. Raise your hand. We got more.
Yay.
More lessons from the fandom. Here we go.
Fun. You always gotta have fun, especially at conventions like
Fun.
this.
Woo!
Fun.
Fun extends beyond these walls. Anyone else? Raise your hand. Raise your hand.
Celebration.
Anybody else? Yeah.
Travel to all over the country to go to these amazing conventions.
Travel. Travel's awesome. Okay. What do you got?
Oh, arts.
Art.
Yeah, you know, like fan drawings, paintings of your favorite things. That's a good way to express yourself and how you feel about others.
Yes, express yourself through art. That's awesome.
Never be afraid to ask for help. I have this habit because of stuff that happened to me.
Ask for help. Yes.
act like nothing is different. Even if you're surrounded by furries and like different fursuits, act like they are just normal people.
No Treat everybody normal. We all have our own version of normal, right? We're all weird and we come together in our mutual weirdness, right?
Yeah. So one thing I did, and granted, I just tried to search for pen and paper to write all this down to no avail, but so if somebody said something like this, but one thing that I think is a really great way we can all do things that I've done, think about when you have a conflict with somebody or a disagreement, when you start framing it as a friendship problem. It flips the script on so many things.
Or going on that there is no problem. Find the lesson in every single moment.
Amen.
There are no problems. There's only lessons, and we celebrate every lesson, good, bad, and indifferent, because it helps us with our human natures, even though we're ponies.
Exactly. I got another one over here. Woo! Yeah.
We've drawn enough worse versions of you.
That's true.
If you have an issue, there's nothing wrong. Communication. If you are into a disagreement with your friends, try and talk it out. If you feel like you're afraid, just let them know and just reassure them.
Yeah, speak up for yourself.
I love your paws.
Reassure each other.
I really like your paws.
They're
really cool. Oh! We all pause for a minute. Pause for a minute to admire the paws. Hey, it was Ellie, not me.
I have another.
I cannot take credit for it.
Okay, go ahead, Ernie.
Be kind and patient with yourself. And
Yes.
also change your internal dialogue. So instead of saying like, oh, I'm stupid, be like, oh, I need to work on something, or I'll do better next time.
I'm going to add, you're not what happened to you, you are what you can make happen.
My past is not today. My
Correct.
favorite song from the entire catalog.
I would say probably just always remember to spread the love, because love makes the world go round.
Love again, love.
My other thing is that the friends you make at conventions, keep those friends in real life, because you're going to make some of the best friends in the whole world. Ooh, I'm falling. And I found one of my best friends in the whole world back here who snuck in. This is Coaster Bodie. One of my best friends in the whole world who I met at conventions. So keep those friends.
So seeking of understanding of other people and, just learning their ways.
Good. All right, here we go.
Download the things you like, make copies, make backups. Or else, they might be gone forever.
I think my friend here has a message on their mask, and their mask says,
Smile.
Smile! All right, I'm running around.
Okay, I got one, and it's a really, really old one I remember from like my childhood. I think we're all familiar with Bambi. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all.
My favorite quote is, "It's never too late to be who you might have been."
Oh, here's one. Think before you speak. Is it thoughtful? Is it honest? Is it interesting? Is it necessary? Is it kind?
You know, I do a very similar thing. Before, especially if I'm responding to somebody online, because that's the easiest one, right? You feel that anonymity, and you can just type in the keyboard, blah, 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 blah. Put down what you want to say, run it through a checklist. I think you all know it. It's called the Elements of Harmony.
There you go.
All right, here it is. Treat others the way you want to be treated.
Yeah.
Try new things. In my other job, we call it love your neighbor as yourself. Another paw. I like your beans.
Age is just a number, well, not a number. You're never too old to do stuff.
Yeah, you know what? You don't grow older, you level up. Yeah, right? You don't grow older, you level up, right, Ellie?
Right? I mean, find your hero, your shero, Let your shero and your hero rule you. They live with love and grace and joy and faith and hope and harmony. That's your hero, that's your shero. They're not anywhere, they're right there. They're right with y'all. So, you know, live with that.
Yeah, that's great.
How many, is this your first SeaqustriaFest?
Yay!
Try new things. Embrace something different. You know, like traveling. You know, try new things in your life. Like, you got this life to live, you know, live it out, you know?
You won't know.
Hey, and tell your...
until after you try it.
Yeah, tell your friends to come here next year. Ooh. So you can all have fun together.
It's already happening.
I've got one.
Are you doing a spooky theme for next year?
What is the theme?
We don't have it yet.
voting.
We'll
All right,
have it
Chris
later.
has another one for us.
Okay, I have another one from you, and it comes from a joke from my friend Nevi. But he told me in a DM once, no more people. Like K-N-O-W, no more people.
That's a great one. Anybody else?
I have the opportunity to say it, but I just want to say it right now. Mayonnaise. There we go.
All right. Now let's go on to our last thing of this panel, which will be Ellie's positive feeling words, right? You wanted to end with that, Ellie?
Why not? Because then, you know what? Once you remember those positive feelings, because you have experienced them in your life. Think about when you were at your most free, your most liberated, your most joyful, whatever words that you want to think about. A moment or 2 or 3 in your life when you were at your best, your happiest self. How did you feel? Just throw out words, gang, of how you felt in those moments in your life.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, instead of running around like a lunatic for this, I'm just going to go around and point around. And as I come around, if you have something to say, you're just going to shout out that happy, joy feeling thing, okay? And we're just going to move through the room. That way, we can get this enthusiasm really going. We can cheer for each other as we're saying it, and I don't have to run around like a lunatic. All right? Sound great? All right, here we go.
Self-confidence.
Yeah.
Great.
Love yourself.
Yippee! Positive words, how when you felt your best. Come on.
Shaking it all off.
Free.
Hello.
Oh, sorry. What?
It's your word.
Your own positive word.
Ecstatic, off the chain, out of this world, next level, explosive.
Heck yeah.
Happiness. Yay.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yes.
Music, be awesome.
Awesome. Normal.
Bingo.
Music.
Music.
Love that just shows up.
That's what that's doing.
Friendship.
I was like,
You got one? Positivity. Friends. What? Cuteness. Cuteness. Oh, that was for me. Thank you. Okay. Right here. Joy. Over here.
Oh, bleep, yeah.
Bleep, yeah!
Swear words are just...
Courteous.
Yes.
Awesome.
Awesome.
You? No? Okay, next row. Sunglass boys. Okay, huh. All right, next row. Right there.
Jolly.
Yay!
Jolly!
Anybody back there? Just shout it out.
Wondrous.
Yes.
Stupendous.
Stupendous.
Magic.
Magic.
Weed.
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 Anyone else?
Oh, weed.
All right, we got big girls to order.
Okay, so guys, when you feel ecstatic and joyful and magic bing bong, and you feel and you feel
Yes!
liberated, and you feel free, and you feel childlike, and you feel heroic and heroic, and you feel alive, and you feel like you're breathing and screaming and dancing and singing and wondrous and stupendous and brilliant, phenomenal, godlike. That's not because of a thing or a person or an event. It's how you feel, and you can choose it in any moment that you live and take breath. Choose to feel this that you've just expressed to me every moment. It isn't a thing that makes you feel it, you feel it. You are the greatest thing going. You are miraculous. You are magical. Big bang! And all of these words that you just used to describe your best moment, your most successful moment, your most free moment, your most liberated moment, your most dancing, singing moment, choose it every moment of your life because you can feel it. You just choose it. Don't let anything deter you from that experience and that celebration.
Awesome. Let's give a big round of applause for everybody that's brave enough to share their story. A big round of applause to all of you for your stories, your positive energy. Let's keep that positive energy going, not only at this convention, but out in the broader community. We are not just ponies. We are able to influence everything around us, okay?
Yeah.
Go out there and make a difference in the world. Go out there and bloom where you are planted. We'll be up here if you want to talk to any individual people for a couple of minutes. And always, free hugs for me if you need a hug. Love you. Thank you so much.
Love you, Cody.